Look around you. Really look. Rent that eats half your paycheck. A wait list for a family doctor that's longer than your last vacation. Kids graduating with degrees and no jobs waiting for them. And every time someone says out loud what a lot of people are quietly thinking, that maybe, just maybe, we brought in more people than we had room for, they get called something ugly. Racist, backwards, afraid of change. We're not afraid of change. We built this country on it. But there's a difference between welcoming people and overwhelming a system. And for years, nobody in Ottawa wanted to admit there was a difference at all. Here's what actually happened. Starting in 2015, the number of people Canada let in, permanent residents, yes, but especially temporary workers and international students, climbed and climbed. By 2024, more than half of Canadians, 58%, told pollsters there was simply too much immigration coming into this country.
So many familiar faces, real patriots. It's about your character, and you guys are the top pinnacle of that. You guys are the voice of Canada. You guys are the voice of the patriots in this country. You are the voice of our children.
You know, Canada needs to get its immigration situation under control. This is not about putting not certain people here, but having numbers, this right numbers, and the people that are willing to assimilate into our culture.
Not 27%, like just 2 years before. 58. That's not a fringe opinion anymore. That's the majority of your neighbors. And it wasn't random. It tracked almost perfectly with the housing crisis, with rents doubling in cities that used to be affordable, with young Canadians, the ones who were told if they worked hard and got an education they'd be fine, watching that promise quietly disappear. A third of the people who said immigration was too high pointed straight at housing and jobs. They weren't reciting talking points. They were describing their own lives. Even the government's own pollsters found it. Their internal research, the stuff they commissioned themselves, showed nearly half of Canadians believed the country was taking in too many immigrants. Almost half of Ontarians said the exact same thing about their own province.
The people that are in government right now, God can change their hearts. And the Bible already tells us what to do. Fast and pray and humble yourself before the Lord and seek His face. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to protest, raise our voices. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'm here to tell you today, my friends, that we got to seek counsel from the Lord, which is the Bible, the Holy Bible. God is trying to reach out to you today, and He has given us the blueprint.
This wasn't some opposition attack ad. This was Ottawa asking Canadians what they thought and not liking the answer. And here's the part that should make you angrier, not less angry. Eventually, they agreed with us. Quietly. Without ever really saying so. The temporary resident numbers, the ones that ballooned past 670,000 in a single year, got slashed by 43% almost overnight. International student permits got cut nearly in half. The government that spent a decade telling us more was always better suddenly discovered that maybe, actually, there is such a thing as too much, too fast. So ask yourself, if we were wrong to raise our voices, why did they change the policy? You don't quietly gut your own signature program because critics were being unreasonable. You do it because the ground shifted under you, because the emergency rooms were full, because the shelters were full, because small towns that don't have enough housing for the people already living there suddenly had hundreds of new arrivals with nowhere to go and no plan for where they'd land. This wasn't cruelty toward newcomers, it was recognition, however late, however reluctant, that a country has to be able to actually take care of the people it brings in, or it isn't kindness at all. It's abandonment with a welcome sign on it. That's the truth nobody likes to say out loud. An immigration system that can't house, employ, or care for the people inside it isn't generous. It's broken, and it hurts everyone caught inside it. The Canadian family priced out of their own neighborhood, and the newcomer who arrived with real hope and found a mattress on a shelter floor instead. We are not the villains in this story. We're the electricians and nurses and small business owners who watched a plan get built without asking whether the roads, the clinics, the schools, or the apartments could hold it. We're the ones who said, gently at first, that numbers matter, and got told we were the problem for saying so. We watched politicians attend photo ops and hand out talking points about diversity being our strength, while entire generations of young Canadians gave up on ever owning a home in the city they grew up in. And when we finally said something, when we finally stood in the street and demanded a system that works, for newcomers and for the people already here, we weren't dividing this country. We were trying to hold it together. Because here's what actually divides a country. Pretending that concern for housing, for wages, for whether hospitals can handle the patients walking through the door is somehow bigotry in disguise. That kind of talk doesn't protect immigrants. It just protects politicians from having to explain themselves.
We're coming in behind door. Yeah, let's get in front of them here. Let's go. Come, babe.
We can build an immigration system this country is proud of. One that brings people in because we can actually welcome them, not because a spreadsheet in Ottawa needed a bigger number to keep GDP growing. One where sustainable isn't just a word ministers use in a press release the same month they quietly cut the targets in half. One where newcomers land in a country that has room for them instead of a housing market already stretched to breaking. That's not extreme. That's not hateful, that's just responsible. So when you see people marching, carrying signs, standing in the cold outside a government building, don't assume you know what's in their hearts. Ask what's in their bank accounts. Ask where their kids are going to live. Ask how long they've been waiting for a doctor. We didn't ask for a fight, we asked for a plan. We asked to be heard before the emergency, not after it. And when the emergency came anyway, when the government's own numbers finally forced their hand, we didn't get an apology. We just got to be right, quietly, while they hoped nobody would notice. We noticed. And we're not done asking the hard questions, because a country this good deserves a system that's actually built to last, not one held together by hope and silence.